Shields up, Paladins, and welcome to an Overwatch Hero Guide. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'll be talking to you all about Reinhardt and how I like to use this particular character. Reinhardt is one of the many tank roles within Overwatch, as well as he has 300 health and 200 armor. Now with all this being said and done, let's go ahead and jump right on over to his abilities and his weapon. So the first ability that I want to talk about is his passive ability, which is called Steadfast. Now the description of this is resistant to knockback effects. Now I want to get into a little specific here with this particular passive ability because I believe it actually needs it to be understood a little bit more. Now bear in mind, there's going to be a lot of velocity and accelerates and all that, so get ready for it. So this reduces the initial velocity from knockback effects by 50%. So for an example, Soundwave sends its victim back 17 milliseconds, but Reinhardt is sent back, it is 8.5 milliseconds. So the distance in which Reinhardt is knocked back is not reduced by 50%, it is reduced by more. This is because the velocity has to accelerate back to normal, so a higher initial velocity means more time at higher velocities and more time with the velocity in general. So this does not affect Halt, Chain Hook, Graviton Surge, or Graphitic Flux because these are not knockback effects. Now with all that being said, let's go ahead and change some gears here. Let's go ahead and go right on into his weapon, which is called the Rocket Hammer. So the type is a melee. Damage does 75 a swing. Max range is 5 meters. Rate of fire is 1 swing per 0.9 seconds. And casting time is 0.42 seconds, which is the initial swing. Of course, you cannot get headshots with this hammer. His first ability that he has is called his Barrier Shield. So the health of this shield is 1,600. The healing regenerates 200 shields per second after being down for 2 seconds. Movement speed is negative 30%. And the cooldown is 5 seconds after being broken. So by holding the primary fire key, Reinhardt can look around at his surroundings without turning while keeping his shield up. And then, of course, the barrier cracks at 50%, 25%, and 20%. Once the shield hits 20%, Reinhardt will say that his barrier is failing. His next ability that he has is called Charge. So, the damage is pinned to a wall, does 300 damage. If you bump with no pin, that's only 50 damage. Movement speed is plus 200%. Max range is 49.5 meters. Casting time is 0.6 seconds. Duration is 3 seconds. 0.65 seconds stun at the end of the pin. And the cooldown is 10 seconds. So Reinhardt can turn while charging, but his control is very reduced. If the charge directly collides with an enemy, that enemy is now pinned or stunned. And if they hit a wall, that pinned target takes 300 damage. If charge ends before hitting a wall, no damage is inflicted, but the target will remain stunned for the additional 0.65 seconds. Only one enemy can be pinned at a time. If charge indirectly collides with an enemy, or if there's someone already pinned, the enemy is knocked away and only takes 50 damage. If charge also collides with Rocket Punch, Shield Bash, a Charging Bob, or another charge, both participants get knocked down for 2 seconds. Any pinned target will be damaged as if they hit a wall. So that's some good information there about his charge. And then his next ability that he has is a Fire Strike, which is a projectile weapon or projectile type. It does a damage of base of 100. Projectile speed is 25 meters per second. Casting time is 0.5 seconds with a 0.6 second recovery. Cooldown is 6 seconds and you cannot get headshots with this particular ability. So this does pierce barriers, enemies, and any other damageable entities, as well as this ability can animation cancel Rocket Hammer, allowing for faster attacks. So kind of keep that in mind. And then finally his ultimate ability, which is Earth Shatter. Type is an area of effect, damage is 50, max range is 20 meters, casting time is 0.45 seconds with a 0.5 second recovery, duration is a 3-second knockdown, and the ultimate cost is 1,540. So Reinhardt passively generates 1% ult charge every 3.08 seconds. It does require a line of sight, and Earth Shatter has a small amount of vertical height, which is right about 2 meters or so, allowing it to affect enemies in the air or on the payload. So kind of keep that in mind while you're using Earth Shatter. So that's all of his abilities and everything like that. Now I'm going to talk about a little bit of his pros and cons that he has, or in my personal opinion, with using Reinhardt. Reinhardt is one of, in my personal opinion, Reinhardt is one of the sturdiest of all the tanks. He's got high base health. He's got a massive barrier that allows him to protect him and his team from harm. And while largely defense oriented, Reinhardt can be deadly in a offensive threat as well, thanks to the high damage of his Rocket Hammer and the ability to crush enemies against the wall with a charge. But the price that he pays, in my opinion, for all of this damage that he has is he is very, very restricted, or solely restricted, to fighting at short range, having a one single infrequent ranged attack. So pretty much people at a distance to Reinhardt is very, very hard to fight against. Really the only thing you can do to kind of help combat that is keep your shield up and hope for the best. Now if there's an enemy bastion on the team, or if there's a lot of high powered enemies on the enemy team, you have to watch out for that. So you can only probably keep it up for a second, but now you're taking damage, which is now making it harder on your healers to kind of keep up with you, to keep healing you, so where you can stay in the fights. McCree can flash you. He can throw his flashbang above your barrier, and then boom, you're now open to everyone's attacks. Reaper, he's the tank buster, as I call him. So he does a lot of damage with his shotguns. So he's boom right there in your face. Some other things that you have to watch out while playing SM. One of the things I do want to mention real quick with his Earth Shatter, which is his ultimate ability, do watch out for if there's enemy, maybe another enemy Reinhardt, or if there's a Zenyatta. If you use Earth Shatter while Zenyatta has his ultimate up, you will of course damage the enemy team. You will knock them down, but they will not get hit for that 50 health, because Zenyatta is basically just healing them for that 50 health. So really, he's just basically nullifying your ultimate ability. If there's an enemy Reinhardt that's there as well, if he pops his barrier, you do hammer down or your Earth Shatter, he just blocks your attack, he blocks your ultimate ability. So kind of watch out for that. Make sure everything's good there. Now, if you have a decent healer, as you can see in this particular video, I had lost healing me as Reinhardt in this particular video. That helped me pretty much stay on the offensive. It helped me take charge. It helped me keep pushing the payload the best that I possibly could, because I knew I had someone healing me, not necessarily pocket healing me, but he does focus tanks over DPS. So that is something to keep in mind. So if you realize you have someone there that is healing you, making sure that you're topped off at your 500 or your 300 health and 200 shield, making sure that you're there constantly. Don't be afraid to put that shield down and go all in. Don't charge in and make it harder for your healers to keep up with you. So you do have to kind of keep in mind, be aware of your surroundings as a tank, of course, but also at the same time, you know, you do want to go in there. You know, you see there's a Genji or people that are pestering your healers or something like that. Don't be afraid to turn around and start swinging that hammer. That hammer is a deadly thing. Yeah, I mean, 75 a swing. That hurts. I mean, you can 2-shot, maybe 3-shot a Tracer if you hit her with everything that you got. You know, most heroes you could probably 2 to 3 shot, besides most tanks, of course. So definitely keep that in mind. But the one thing that I would say is his biggest issue that he has is ranged heroes. So Hanzo, Widowmaker. You know, if you're both good with your shots, even a Junkrat, since he can bounce his grenades behind your barrier and hit you and your team, you know, that's something that you have to watch out for as well. So it's all situational awareness, of course, but you know, knowing what you can and cannot do as a character is what really helps, and it helps you improve as an overall player. So hopefully I answered a lot of questions, comments, concerns. If there is something that I missed as Reinhardt, definitely in the comment down below, let me know what I missed, and I'll definitely like to read and reply back to you saying I agree or disagree. Let's have a good conversation. So what do y'all say? Thank you all for watching, and of course, guys, I will see you in the next video. Stay awesome.
Play of the game.